Alright guys, welcome back to WolfPack Cryptos and MMG Invest. Can you guys hear me in the comment section? Hello, anyone out there? Alright, cool. Thank you guys. Alright, so we have all known about all the news already today. I posted it earlier in the newsroom. So, first of all, this is not financial advice. This is more of an educational channel. Anything I say or do on here is pretty much obsolete once the video's over with. Equities, cryptos, they're all volatile, all risky. Do not invest in anything you're not willing to lose or lose sleep over. Always place stops and have your emotions out. Okay, so we had that bounce yesterday, right? And the market on the open just kept falling and falling and falling. This is the S&P 4-hour chart. Let's go to a daily. All right, so we're almost there. We're almost at the 200-day moving average. And that needs to hold. So what caused this sell-off? Now, obviously, this looks like a dead cat bounce now, right? It did it back here as well, except the 100-day moving average held it up, the price, on the corrections the beginning of this year. Now, the correction the past few days, trading days, because it doesn't trade on the weekends, it's wiped out all of pretty much all of 2018 gains, which is a big deal. And today alone, the what was it, Dow or the S&P? It fell 600 points. Yeah, it pretty much all of the gains, not all of them, but about 90% of the gains from the beginning of the year are wiped out. So, what caused the sell-off? Because I was somewhat hopeful that the market would recover or continue the recovery from yesterday, or not yesterday, from a few days ago. That was last week. And then we had a bounce right here. That was yesterday. So what I'm thinking is this was a knee-jerk reaction to the news events of today. Now you see, the market, it could ignore pretty much the instability of the left and the right fighting. As long as Trump stays in power, the markets are fine because they have faith that he will help the economy recover. But with this news today, it makes the right look bad. And I know there's already theories out there that, you know, it's questionable who really sent the packages. Was it one crazy individual or a group of individuals? Or was it an entity, like an agency, right? Setting up the right to make them look bad. Also, this is bad for alternative media and anyone who talks about conspiracies, because they're going to say that it's radicalizing people, and the censorship on the internet is just going to ramp up after this. Just watch it. Although, ironically, on the left, well, there was ricin sent a few weeks ago to Trump and a bunch of politicians that was barely even in the news. And then there was that one politician on the right who was shot at in the park. That was over a year ago. And then so was Rand Paul. He was beat up. But what I'm saying is the tensions between the right and the left are increasing. Now you could say that it's being fueled on purpose, right? So you divide and conquer so everyone doesn't pay attention to the real people in charge behind everything. But I'm going to leave that to other channels and whatnot. But I'm thinking that the fall was set off by that. So it was a knee-jerk reaction. Now, here's the problem. Because of all the uncertainty and volatility in the markets, traders tend to take profits not take profits, but exit their positions before the weekends when the market starts selling off and having corrections like this. It's called Take Back Fridays. And tomorrow's already Thursday. So will we see a bounce tomorrow? I do not know. But by Friday, I don't see the market recovering. It's already too far into the week. And then that sets up the weekend for, Monday next week. If the price is below the last low, so if we get a lower low than the last correction in the beginning of the year, then things get really scary, because that could set up the beginning of the recession that's going to turn into more than a recession. Not just that, on top of that, we have Trump and the Fed going at it. They're already starting the blame game, where Trump is saying the Fed keeps raising rates, that's why the stock market's falling, and they're hindering the recovery. And then the Fed is blaming Trump, and they're saying that the tariffs is causing this. And the truth is somewhere in the middle. All right? And not just that, it's a bubble. And it's once you have a huge bubble, it doesn't take much to pop it. There's a couple needles already, starting to hit the bubble. And all of the tensions, the political tensions is not helping the situation at all, because it makes people nervous and investors nervous. Also, with this event today, right? It might help the left actually win the midterms, and I've already talked about this. If Trump loses power, let's say the Dems get the House, they're going to start impeachments right away. And if there's any possibility of Trump getting impeached, the market's probably going to tank. And then and if the market tanks, that sets up the left taking power the next presidential election 2 years from now, which is really negative for the stock markets and the economy, and investors know that. And they're just going to price in the next 5 to 10 years. And if they do that, it's game over. Let's look at a weekly of the S&P 500. Where's 2009? All right, here's the bank bailouts all the way down here. This is where we are at right now. And look at that drop. That's pretty it's pretty nerve-wracking. Now, when the Fed started raising rates, right? The first time, the market sold off massively in 2016, the beginning of 2016. And the price went all the way down to the 100-week moving average. And we have quite a bit of way to go if we're going to repeat that. But I don't think the markets and the economy and the banking sector could handle that. The banking sector cannot handle the stock market falling back down to, the S&P, let's just say, falling back down to 2,300. Right now it's at 2,600. So Let's hope the 50-week moving average will hold up the price, or we will get a bounce, and then possibly a rebound if the conservatives win the midterms, right? So here's the daily. Back to the daily. We need this to hold. I think if this holds, and then the price could consolidate until midterms and Trump stays in power, then that'll buy us some more time, possibly, hopefully, maybe. All right. It's not going to go that long, but you understand. But I mean, the momentum of this drop, it's pretty bad. Basically, it would look like this on the daily. The dip would have to be bought by everyone and straight back up if the right wins the midterms, right? Let's take a look at. You guys could ask questions. I'll get to them soon. The Dow looks even worse. The Dow already fell past the 200-day moving average. And it's on my equilibrium line. So that let's hope we get a nice bounce on the open tomorrow morning. And yeah, I mean, gold's going to take off like a rocket. Look at it. Overnight trading, gold's starting to take off. It's breaking out. I'm going to have to work all weekend to get my research on the mining stocks. Oh, I'm going to do it like tonight and tomorrow. I'll get it out ASAP. Just in case if this is, beginning of the end. Wow, look at the VIX. Shot up like a rocket. VIX would have been the perfect trade. That would have been a great buy. The VIX is the volatility index. Basically, it moves based on volatility. So, when the prices rapidly drop or rise, but mainly when they drop, the VIX shoots up like a rocket, just like this. And you could get some decent percentage gains. Because look, it shot up. Today, it went from $20.35 to $26.37. That would have been a solid 30 some percent gain. Let's take a look at the bond yields. 10-year, it's dropping with the market. Elliott wave theory says that the top is in. Here's the thing with Elliott waves. I don't like them. I don't use them. But I've seen them work on longer term time frames. And I could do an Elliott wave. I just don't want to. Because I haven't done one in years. What is it? The 1, 2, 3 to 5 count thing? Here, I'll tell you what. I'll do the Elliott wave, just not now because I have to practice. I don't want to look stupid. TradingView has been buggy. It's been deleting everything I've been putting on my charts. Alright, let's answer some questions while these load. Whoa, there's a lot. Yeah, shit is hitting the fan. It's a quickening. I can't even cover the news and all the events that happen every day. It's like it's just such a quickening of. It's like we're reaching a point of just chaos, and it's all political. And with the midterms coming up, here's another problem. With the midterms coming up, things could get worse for the next 2 weeks before they get better, and that's not good for the stock market either. So if people get desperate, also when you see things like this happen, it triggers like the crazies out there on both sides, right? It doesn't matter, and it's just not good. It's destabilization. This is the type of stuff you see in banana republics before they go down. Let's take a look at the dollar. I'll talk about crypto, but honestly, nothing's changed from my last video earlier today. I'm still in cash. I'm still expecting it to pull back. It did not fall with the stock market, though. Honestly, I don't see much of any correlation with cryptos in the stock market. Maybe when things get really, really, really bad, people will start fleeing the cryptos, but cryptos might drop with everything else before it gets to that point. Like, you see other countries that have already fallen apart, like Venezuela, they're using cryptos, but things have to get really bad for a while. And the problem is when people, if they start losing jobs, they might not risk, they don't have much savings. I mean, believe it or not, most people in Europe and the US, they really don't have any savings. And they might have a couple $1,000s. They're going to end up using that for bullets and food. I don't know. They close the markets if it drops too low. Yeah, there's the plunge protection team. But once the plunge protection team uses their their cutoff switch, that might actually trigger people to sell soon as the market opens up again. So the plunge protection team could stop the market from falling, and then the next day when it starts trading, if overnight, Asia and Europe and everyone else around the world kept selling, it gives time for the US investors to watch everything dropping overnight, and they're just going to say, screw it, I'm out. And it might make things worse. So Thirsty Thursdays. Yeah, Thursdays, historically, Wednesdays, I've noticed this trend where Wednesdays the market sort of goes sideways, and then Thursdays it gets bought back up into Friday, and then everything's back to peachy, right? The problem is today the markets were sort of trading sideways, but in the morning it just started selling off already. I don't know when that news broke, to be honest. Although, earnings weren't all that bad. There was a few it was like mixed. Tesla, I know, jumped like a decent amount. Read my question. Is there a delay in the comment section? Probably. Trump and his travels to China and Arabia, there's something negotiated. Oh yeah, and then there's that Saudi stuff happening, right? Well, the Saudi is what backs the dollar, the petrodollar. That's not good, for the U.S. I mean, that's why Trump tried to play it off. He doesn't want to play it off, but it's kind of like the U.S. sort of needs the Saudis, like it or not, right? So, also, Soros might have just dumped everything he held. He is a multi-billionaire. That's with a B. I'm not saying that's going to affect the traditional markets all that much. It won't. It's like a drop in the bucket. But if you do it at the right time, leveraged up, you might. I don't know how much money he really has. So did my other charts load? No. It's great. Let's take a look at the Russell. I need to delete some of this. You don't think the daily's that bad? It's not that bad. It's just that I it's just the problem is when you're in a bubble, it doesn't take much to cause like a cascading effect. If you know what I mean. And, everything's psychological. If people start to panic, that's all it takes. And we'll see what the Fed does, right? So is the Fed going to capitulate and say, all right, we're going to stop raising rates? Is that going to save the market? If they say that, I'm pretty confident metals, gold is going to take off like a rocket. And I don't know if it'll save the market. Here's the problem. Look at the Russell. The moving averages on the daily are starting to curl over. That's not good. And it has completely wiped out 2018. Let's look at the NASDAQ. This isn't the index. Here's the NASDAQ 100. Your FANG stocks. Netflix, I think, took a hit. So it's right on support. This is the daily as well on the NASDAQ. So it's already broken below the 200-day moving average. No, it didn't. Or, yeah, it did. Yep. Broke below the 200. Is that a simple? No, that's just a moving average. Let's do an SMA. I like the simple moving averages. Well, looking at the simple, it has not broken below the 200. So there's still some falling to go. We could end this week a little bit lower as long as we don't break the 200-day. And then next week the markets recover. I have a feeling Trump's going to come out and do something, say something. The Fed needs to get on board as well to save the market. If they don't, I think Trump will be able to get away with the blame, but it's not that bad just yet. It's not the end of the world just yet. I mean, so there's no reason to panic just yet. Although I'm not in. I'm in cash, except for my metals, right? I'm not trading any equities right now. Here's the weekly. I mean, we could give back most of the last 2 years' gains since Trump was elected. And, you know, it won't be the end of the world, but the stock market's definitely going to take a huge hit. And all that money is going to have to flow somewhere. So hopefully it'll flow in the cryptos. It will definitely flow in the metals. A lot of it will. If the stock market does, let me tell you this. This is my theory. I think at certain points, the Fed will capitulate. It'll either capitulate on the NASDAQ when it hits like 6,300, or if they really want to play hardball, or they're really late to trying to save the markets and the banks, they'll wait till the NASDAQ falls to 4,700. But the financials are just, they're getting hit. Those are the banks, right? Let's look at the ProShares Ultra on the financials. So here's the beginning of 2017, 2 years ago. Almost. And it's the financials have given back over 50% of their gains from 2 years ago. So, and here's 2008, 2009. Check this out. Look at this. Oh man. Look at that. Now that is a crash. And the financials have barely recovered since, even with low interest rates. And low interest rates have kept the banks, the zombie banks, alive. And I don't think they could handle a drop back to even 2016 levels. They'll start blowing up. So the Fed's going to come in and save the day eventually. Yeah, this time, will they do bail-ins? I don't know. I don't think the public would put up with that. You'd probably have like a revolution or something. The Fed is trying to crush the economy. Okay, here's the thing. Here's a theory. Maybe they want the markets to drop and give back the last 2 years gains in the next in the past 4 weeks. Well, past 2 weeks and the coming 2 weeks prior to midterm, so Trump can't say, "Look, the economy's so great," and then it might be political, completely political. I don't know. It probably is because the Fed, you know. Well, banks and corporations have become countries, right? Because it's all fueled on debt. All economic growth in the past in the past decade's been really fueled on debt. The past few decades, to be honest. And what it does is it creates malinvestment in all asset classes, from real estate to everything, and then things grow into bubbles, and that's what happens, and that's what central banks do with their low interest, artificially manipulated interest rates and money printing. So All right, guys. Well, it's getting late. I'm probably on tomorrow's open. I will make a video live on the open to see how it works. How it works, but what happens, we'll see. Just in case if the market just keeps dumping. And Bitcoin, real quick. By the way, some of our altcoins that were 5-star rated, they're doing really good. And some of the ones we've said to accumulate in the past few weeks, it's just a handful of them, like 3 of them. Yeah, I mean, it's just trading sideways, and it's more likely to break down. And we'll probably revisit the bottom of this triangle, descending triangle, and we'll see if the whales keep defending the price. And we'll see if it breaks down, capitulation or not on Bitcoin. So I'm still in cash. I have accumulated some altcoins, but I'm not like all in or anything. It's just like a small percentage of my capital, right? Like 10% or something like that. Although the ICOs we did buy months ago, that wasn't exactly, it did not turn out as well as I hoped. And that was the risk. But back then, 5-6 months ago, we didn't know that the price was going to drop below 8,000. Yeah, here's the shorts on the left, longs on the right. Looks like the longs are gonna have they're gonna sell off, and then the shorts will catch a bid. If the crap hits the fan, most of us are absolutely screwed. Yeah, I think, everything will take like a year or two to really play out. It might even take a couple years. They will not let everything just fully like go to zero, like over within like a month or something. If it does happen that fast, then yeah, we're all like screwed. I mean, if it gets really really bad, it will just kind of be like, we're not gonna go back to the Stone Ages, but everyone's debt will be wiped out, and no one's gonna repossess anything if it gets so bad. You know what I mean? If anything, they want a controlled descent in the markets. I mean, that's the best thing for governments. A controlled like financial crash, controlled, like doesn't happen overnight. But currencies could get devalued over a weekend. They really can. Here's what's scary about stocks. If it gets really really bad and everyone gets margin calls, the brokers might go down, meaning the brokers go bust, and your bank, and then like like then you can't get it. Like even if your stocks went up 10,000%, it's technically all gone. I mean, you don't really own those stocks because the broker owns the certificates of ownership, and if they go down, that's why you need physicals as well, and you need to diversify into cryptos. That's another reason why cryptos might go up, but maybe all the money just goes poof. It's just all gone, poof, like goes to money heaven. All debts and everything, debt based, credit based, is just vanishes, and everything just gets reset, starts over. And then whoever has real assets, like real physical assets in the world, or maybe cryptos, will be the best off. I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. Until next time.